28-7, the final at Arrowhead Stadium last night. We were lucky enough to be there. Thanks to our friends, the law firm Kondori and Murad. They sponsor this show.
These guys are outstanding. As the exclusive sponsor of our show, the law firm of Kondori and Murad can help you draft your last will and testament, set up a living trust, or put together a medical power of attorney. Schedule a free consultation with their attorneys today by visiting kmlawyers.com and be sure to let them know that we sent you. That's kmlawyers.com.
We're giving away Caps tickets today and all week long at 4 o'clock ahead of the Beltway Blitz. So if you want tickets to go see the Capitals coming up later this week, you'd better be listening to G&D right here in 1 hour ahead of the Blitz. We'll be covering the Caps, the World Series game last night that was an all-timer, and the Commanders all coming up, jammed into one segment right at 4 in our Beltway Blitz. I want to get to the audio, though, of Adam Schefter suggesting there's a chance that Jayden Daniels does not come back and play against the Seattle Seahawks. Toby's got the audio queued up for us. This was Schefter on the Pat McAfee show on ESPN yesterday.
Jayden Daniels, they play Sunday night against the Seattle Seahawks. And I just think a guy that's had a knee injury and a hamstring injury and some injury issues, hamstrings, you got to be really careful with them. Look at how careful Lamar's been. I won't be surprised if we don't see Jayden again on Sunday night.
So this is where I get on my soapbox a little bit here, the difference between reporting and editorializing. When a reporter says something, it is taken as a report. This is not a report by Adam Schefter, okay? He is giving his opinion. He is editorializing. He is opining about what he thinks might happen. He did not say, I have sources telling me that Jayden Daniels is unlikely to play, or even I have people telling me in the building that Jayden Daniels may not play. So that's the first thing. I had not heard the audio until last night. I just saw a bunch of people hit me up in Instagram DMs or whatever saying, hey, did you see what Schefter said? Jayden's going to be out against Seattle. And then you listen to it and you go, no, he's just a guy giving an opinion there. But here's the big question, Danny. Schefter typically does not say anything like this that is going to get headlines, that could be a lightning rod for discussion without some inside information, right? Like a lot of times if you listen to this show, if I'm given an opinion on something, occasionally it's just what I think. But if I have intel behind the scenes and I'm not allowed to tell you what I know, I'm going to just pass it off as my opinion. You get the difference?
Of course, yeah.
So if a coach tells me, yeah, we're not playing this guy because, you know, he doesn't know the playbook, let's say, I'm not going to suggest, you know, but don't say that. That's off the record or whatever. Okay, fine. So I'm just going to say something like, you know, there's got to be some reason this guy's not playing. I mean, it just seems to me like physically he's very capable. He's got the talent. There's got to be something behind the scenes we don't know. That's kind of how I would pass it off. You understand? Mm-hmm. So what I don't know with Adam Schefter here is, are you just kind of shooting from the hip, which in his role he shouldn't really do because there's always going to be the assumption that he knows something, or I would imagine he's talked to agents, he's talked to the team, and there is a little bit more of a 50-50 proposition here for Jayden Daniels than we were led to believe. Because if you go back to last week, they made it pretty clear this should be a one-week thing. That was the way that they've talked about this.
I think you summarized it incredibly well. It exasperates me, and I understand how we got here. I understand the world we live in. The 24/7 news cycle used to be you'd see Adam Schefter once a week. Here's your list of the things I'm reporting. I've heard this boom, I've heard that boom, and then there's something else. Back to you. And that was it. We got to fill 24 hours a day. So reports turn to confirmations, which turn to speculations, which turns to water carrying for agents and executives. We lived in a time where a contract would be signed, and that would be the news. Now this was negotiated by Grant at Clutch Sports. I don't care who negotiated the deal, but in order to get the word first, you got to carry that water up that hill like Beatrix Kiddo in Kill Bill 2 when you're training, right? You got to carry that water up that mountain to get that nugget first. You got to let everyone know what agent negotiated what. This is the world we live in now.
It gets worse than that, and I don't think most listeners care about this, but I find it fascinating. Nowadays, and I'm not exaggerating because I've seen some of these, right? An agent will just send out a pre-typed text to the reporter, and they will just copy and paste the text.
Because they got to be first, and it's easy. It's done for them.
And there's some of the agents, I would say to their credit, but I guess it's just being fair, they'll send it to whoever's on their group. So it's This is Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissero, Mike Garafolo, Mike Florio, whoever makes the cut for them, whoever has the relationship. And you're all getting the text at the same time, essentially. Then you probably send them separately so they don't all see it at once. But you just fire off one text, and then they all go to cut and paste, or they might change something, and then they just post it as fast as possible. But yeah, there are definitely times when these reporters will just get a text, to your point, and it's pre-written for them, and it says, Danny Rouillet has signed a 4-year deal for $80 million.
Nice.
$37 million guaranteed. The contract was negotiated, and I'm the guy typing the text.
Yeah.
And I just put my name in there, and then they just grab it and paste it.
Can't wait to let you know. And that's one of the million things that's emblematic of the time that we're in. And so the unfortunate byproduct is the thing that I call the non-report report, right? Where there's a number of guys that you could think of who have been in media for a long time will speculate as to here's something that could happen. And then that's now the news cycle. That's what we digest, even though if it's not whether it's happening or not, no one knows. But here's what's on the table. The Jaguars might trade for defensive end help. Then the program goes over 7 defensive ends that would be good fits, what they might do in this scheme, or whatever, even if that phone call hasn't even been made. So this is another byproduct of that, where it would make sense if he sits for an extra week because of the knee and the hamstring. Is that Adam Schefter dude saying that, or is that number one voice in the NFL for conveying news to fans saying that as an informed speculation? There's no line drawn, so we're all forced to sort of scurry and try to figure it out and delineate. But to the actual...
And I care way more about this than everybody else. I understand that. But the use of the word report is what kills me. This is not a report. A report is almost always sourced, and they will say as much. A report comes as information from somebody. Even if you're reporting something, right, without saying sourced, it's very obvious how it's packaged, how it's presented, that I am reporting a fact. This is not that. This is Adam Schefter guessing, speculating, suggesting, offering.
But it carries so much weight because he reports.
Exactly, but this is my point. When you are him, when you are Rap Sheet, when you're the guys that break all the news, I assume, like everybody else assumes, that you are not just throwing something out there if you don't have information.
And that's why the distinction matters, Grant, for most people that go, I don't care, just give me the info. Totally fine, which I understand. My point, though, is this is now, there's no, hey, this is a report filter when you're seeing the clip.
Right.
Or this is speculation filter when it comes your way via Twitter or whatever, right?
We never once reported hard and fast on Jayden Daniels' injury after the Packers. But we had really good information the entire time. As a show, I think we were the first people to say he got an MRI. This does not look good. He's going to miss time. It's very likely he's not going to play next week. My guess is you won't see him for a couple games. These are the types of things we were saying based on information. But that's not a report. We never reported anything. We were telling you what we're hearing or suggesting without even saying that it was coming from somewhere specifically. And so that's my point. It's a game that gets played. That's why you have to wonder. So with that background now set, okay, we can now take that part out of the equation. What do you think the Schefter suggestion even meant? Do you get the sense that Daniels could miss the game against Seattle? And how much does it even matter? I mean, they're 3-5. They are playing for their season. I didn't think Marcus Mariota was bad last night. The interception at the end of the game was a bad throw, but it was down 21 in the waning seconds, and who cares? The other interception was Deebo Samuel's fault, not his. They didn't push the ball down the field at all. I thought that was more about scheme and play calling and kind of the plan against Kansas City than it was Mariota's decision-making. You watched from the same angle I did. I didn't see many vertical routes.
No.
I didn't see anything really threatening
And the
Kansas
occasional
City.
ones that were run were there. It's not even a glance that way, right?
It's what I call love of the game. You're just trying to open things up underneath by running a 9 route.
Yeah, but it's one of those where at least at some point in your progressions, it does some damage to the defense if you go, I might, I'll turn it down and go back underneath to Ertz or throw it or check down to McNichols. It was never, no one's looking at it.
Yeah.
It's just, you might as well jog. It's the Terry McLaurin cardio.
Daniels is better. Obviously, not only is he a starter, but he's a good starter. Mariota is a backup. I think he could be a starter running an offense similar to the one you saw last night, somewhere in the league as a top 7 to a bottom 7 to 10 quarterback in the NFL. If you're running read option and quick game and stuff like that, I think he's adequate enough in a good situation to be a bad NFL starter, and he's certainly an elite backup as we've seen. But I bring all this up to say, Danny, you're steamrolling towards Seattle in a short week now. Would you be better with Daniels? Sure, he can do everything a little bit better other than maybe operate read option. But I don't know how much, like, we're going to obsess over now, does Daniels play or does Daniels not play? And the reason for me is basically the durability question and the number of games missed question. Like, if he does not play in this coming game, he will now have missed 4 of their 9 games. You're basically at that point splitting time with Marcus Mariota this season. Like, that's where we'd be. So that's why I care about is he going to play or is he not going to play? I think the chances they beat Seattle are, let's say, 30% with Mariota and 44% with Jayden Daniels. Like, it's a very negligible difference to me at this point. Not to say Jayden's on a lot better, just the matchup, the health, the problems they have, the defensive issues. I think the bigger story of if he plays or if he doesn't play is it a second time this season where initially we were told he's probably not going to miss multiple games, and then he misses multiple games?
Yeah, the ramp up for this week and then the ramp up for this coming week, I think will be interesting to that point. If we're doing this, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. It just, again, it kind of goes to, and by the way, this is all based on Schefter saying something. He might go this week. We have no idea, right? And this is just him actually opining that a hamstring is tricky.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the vagary, and that's what's frustrating.
Don't you agree that's because you're Schefter, it's kind of reckless if you're doing that? You don't get to do that.
So, okay, let me say it, I'll say it this way. If he does sit out, then it's not reckless.
Well, but
right?
Here's my point. Sorry, let me go back because I want to clarify this. If he has information that he might miss the game from somebody with the Commanders, then you get to do what he did. It's actually normal and what you should do.
Right.
If nobody told him that, and he is literally just being Danny Rouillet or me or guy on the couch, and he's just like doing a talk show.
So you know what they could do is maybe sit him out. Yeah,
I'm saying you don't have the luxury of doing that based on your role and the amount of news that you break.
You shouldn't,
because nothing is taken when you say it as if there's no inside information.
I agree with you.
And if that's the case, ESPN is just completely misusing him, and a dumb network is doing a dumb thing.
I rubber stamp that. Yeah, if he plays, and this is just I don't know where he got that. Means he didn't get it anywhere, and he's just opining the way I might. I'll give you an example. I knew that Washington was signing Ryan Fitzpatrick. I knew because my good friend lives next door to Ryan Fitzpatrick's brother-in-law, and they had a barbecue, and he's like, "Yeah, we're going to Washington. They're looking for houses now. Like, do you know anything? I know you're from D.C. And yeah, here's the realtor that you could use, but that my friend's family used." I knew it. I'm not a reporter. I've never claimed to be a reporter. I floated that, saying, Washington could sign is Ryan Fitzpatrick. I tweeted it 3 days before when I found out, and brought it up on the air a bunch of times, like, hey, get ready for the idea that Ryan Fitzpatrick's coming, LOL, whatever. And he was. So because I have no credibility, because I am not a reporter, never have been, have never pretended to be, I didn't do any kind of reporting because I'm able to maintain my chair as opiner, opinion giver, hopefully informed speculator, etc. But I don't get to cross over onto that side where I'm demanding credibility, where I'm demanding everyone acknowledge it because I said it first. You see what I'm saying? Like, I know so many people get all persnickety up in arms about that sort of thing. Like, we had this first. You guys didn't credit us. I had the Ryan Fitzpatrick thing before anybody did. You'll never hear me angry that, like, I don't know, some dude from the Post didn't credit me when the signing happened, because I'm not reporting anything. So to me, the flip side should be true. Like, if you dabble into my thing of opining, opinion giving, informed speculator, there needs to be some sort of caveat with that. And no one will care because the lines get blurred, info is as far as they're concerned. And for them, it's a discussion topic. They're using they could have him shit for another game. It's being cautious. And now you get 45 seconds on your shouty show and you move on to the next thing.
But back to the Jayden Daniels thing. How big of a deal is it if he plays or if he doesn't? In the way of both them beating Seattle and then also whatever the bigger conversation is about his so far really disappointing sophomore season based on his health and this team's disastrous season as they're trying to avoid 3-6 at this point. I mean, yes, he gives you a better chance to win than Marcus Mariota. If Jayden Daniels plays last night, they don't beat Kansas City.
Right.
They still lose that game.
So I'm a little less that's in my pie. That's in my concern area, what you're talking about, the injury-prone thing. I think if he plays this week, you still have the, hey, is he going to be able to get through a season? Is he going to be healthy? Concern. because he's already missed enough games. You know, whether it's 50% of games he misses or 46%, the point is the point. Like, that doesn't change for me. What will change, or the thing that I care about, kind of the extra layer, I guess, maybe the topping to this pie, maybe it's my whipped cream, or I'm saying the H that way. The thing that I would add is their injury credibility as an organization, to a degree, is on the line. I can only be fibbed to, lied to, double talked to, rug pulled to so many times before I get a little frustrated. Not even a little frustrated, frustrated by it.
Well, last year, they never acknowledged that he broke his rib.
Yeah, that was the first major blow in this.
They still
right?
haven't. So as far as I'm concerned, you know, with the Daniels injury before, they were doing this hour-to-hour, day-to-day bit when I think it was pretty well known internally throughout that he was going to definitively miss a game, if not probably 2 games. And still, they played the dog and pony show game that they did. Now, thank goodness they didn't this time, but I'm already at a point where what they say does not equate to what they know. I think most of us probably understand that. And with this quarterback, especially for some reason, they have been just hesitant to ever give actual and artificial information in timelines. Don't really get the benefit to that necessarily, but this will not look great if he misses a second straight game after they made it seem like it is a very minor injury and it will be a 1-week injury. Now, they didn't come out and say that definitely, but the context clues, what they basically alluded to, the fact that it was minor, all of these things made it seem that way for sure. But then you have the Schefter comment yesterday that certainly changes the perception within the fan base, and I guess we'll find out in time. Did he know anything, or is he just throwing something out there willy-nilly, which I really don't think he should be doing. But do you agree with my point? Like, if Daniels plays against the Cowboys, well, he did, I guess, but for the whole game, nothing's different.
No, they lose that game.
They lose that game decidedly. If he plays against the Chiefs, they lose that game. I don't think there's been a single game. They beat the Raiders pretty handily with Marcus Mariota. The Falcons game was maybe the one you could say, if he played a spectacular game, they steal in Atlanta.
I mean, Bobby Wagner still has to cover Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I think with Daniels as their starter in all 8 games, their record is still 3-5. Disagree with that?
Hard to say, but yeah.
I mean, find the game. Where do they win that they lost?
Move Atlanta to a toss-up, but there's a great chance to lose that game.
They never stopped the Falcons once.
They didn't stop them once. And they didn't stop teams last year, but Jayden Daniels sort of made it all right. But you're probably right. I think they probably lose that game. They were the second-best team in that game.
So that's where I don't even know if I want to do the thing all week long where we sit here and we harp on Daniels' health and we debate if he's going to play or not, and we do the Brian Fantana Panda Watch. I'm not even sure if we need to sit here and do that all week.
Yeah, you get outscored by, what,
we're
43 points over 2 weeks?
We're taking our eye off the ball. You're losing games by 20-plus points. This is bigger than getting Daniels back. And by the way, and this is, again, not a knock at Jayden Daniels, it just is the reality of the situation. It's not like he comes back and he's Daniels from last year. He's Daniels from this year, which is not the same guy as Daniels from last year to this point for a lot of reasons.